Welcome to Tuesday Night Dream Struck. Guys, tonight we are talking about 9 to 5 dropout turned entrepreneur. So tonight we are going to share, there's always a point where some people think I want to do this full time, but we really do believe in our heart of hearts that there is step by step, like a process in order to do this full time. And I will say that some people never quit their jobs. So this is entirely up to you as far as what you do. We have superstar directors that still work a full-time job. They've never left their positions because they like what they do, or I really think they have a super cush job that, you know, that they like a lot and they just don't want to give up that salary, but for people who have been in the trenches, there are a lot of us who have left. So I left a full-time career as a hairdresser. And so I gave up I owned a salon, and I gave all of that up when my Scentsy money was more than I made in the salon. And it just didn't make sense. And then I know Amber, she was a teacher and she left her full-time job. Teresa was in corporate America and she left her full-time job. Kelly, well, I know Kelly went to school to be a mortician. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I don't think she actually ever went to go do that. And then Debbie, she left insurance, right, to now do Scentsy full time, or insurance left her, one of the two. I'm not sure which one it is. And then Dorothy, you did work, but by the time Scentsy found you, you were a stay-at-home mom. So she just decided to kick in and start working. This is something to do that worked with the kids. So as you can see, between all of us, we're just missing Emily tonight. We all have different backgrounds, yet we've all made the same transition. And so tonight we have 10 tips on how to transition into full-time if you'd like, or just to make the most out of your Scentsy business. So number one, somebody has one. It's not me.
It's me.
Okay.
It's me. And let me tell you and warn you right now that I could literally talk about budgets all day long, but I have a couple minutes. So here we go. Tip number one to becoming a 9 to 5 dropout is to prepare a budget, because you have to know where your money's going. I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan. If you have not studied any of his tips or his method, I highly encourage you to do so. In fact, write this down. His daughter wrote a book called Love Your Life, Not Theirs. Love Your Life, Not Theirs. And her name is Rachel Cruz. I'll put it in the chat when I'm done speaking. That book changed my life. And then my husband heard me basically amening through the whole entire book, like, oh, it's so good. Oh, amen. Oh, yeah. And so he was like, okay, fine. When you get done with the book, pass it to me. It's that good. We both read it in just a couple of days. But the whole point of preparing a budget and the whole idea is to tell your money where to go. Tell your money where to go. So when you're getting ready to take that leap of faith, or honestly, if you just need to get your finances in order, you need to budget. You need to figure out how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, and where that money is going. That's in your whole entire life. Everything with your finances, your family stuff, your personal stuff, your business stuff. I tell my teamies as soon as they join, go ahead and open a separate checking account for Scentsy. So tell us in the comments, have you done that yet or not? Have you opened a separate free, it doesn't need to cost anything, checking account for your Scentsy business? If you haven't, you're probably working a lot harder than you need to, because you're having to remember, is this money personal or is this money business? You've got to separate the two. You've got to know your money coming in, your money going out. When it comes down to business expenses, I use the hashtag in my team page all the time, hashtag make money, don't spend it. If you're spending more money on your Scentsy business than you're making, then you're doing it wrong. There's no reason for that to be happening. And you need to figure out where all of that money is going. Where are you spending the money on? If you're paying for a service that you're not using, like Project Broadcast, you've heard us talk about it, you got the free credits, and now maybe you're being charged $15 a month, but you're not using it, stop. Like, just stop. Get everything down on paper, prepare your budget. I have an expense tracker where I keep up with all of my expenses for Scentsy. When it comes to family stuff, like I said, that's a totally separate account. We only use this is just a personal thing, take it or leave it, but we only use our checking account, our personal checking account, for the have-tos. A big thing with Dave Ramsey is cash only system. That's super hard in this day and age with Venmo and all of the things. But we take out a certain amount of cash every other week. And that's our fun money. We don't use our debit card for anything unexpected, right? We use our debit card for gas, groceries, utilities, right? It's what our mortgage comes out of, our electric bill, whatever. And then the cash is for our fun money, all of the extra things that come up, shopping, going out to eat, birthday gifts, haircuts, whatever. And so you really just, it's not fun at certain times, but you have to get down and dirty with it, and you've got to itemize it. How much money do you have coming in? Where is the money going? And then get on top of things and tell your money where to go. No surprises, no surprises. Okay, I'm going to pass it on to number 2 now.
Hello.
Okay, that's me, and I got to unmute myself. Okay, so number 2, guys, is to pay off your debt. Okay, so many of you guys, well, maybe actually you may not know. One of my big stories is when Scentsy found me, the prayer that I was wanting answered, that I needed was, we're $150,000 in credit card debt, and we needed a way out, and we were drowning. I was in a job, which actually stands for just over broke. And so we were living on our credit cards. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul. It was a very dark, dark time for myself. So we did the Dave Ramsey thing. I used my Scentsy money to pay off my debt. So I continued to work in my salon until all of my debt was paid off. My last payment for these credit cards was $10,257. And so the day that I was able to write that check was the day that I had freedom. And so I still had a car and I still had a house. Now we only have a house, and we do have one car just because we went and got a new one. And I like to spend OPM, other people's money, instead of my own. And so I have enough money in savings that I could pay my vehicle off. So I consider that to be debt free. I just got a way better interest rate. So pay off the debt. Use your Scentsy money to pay off all the debt that you have. If you have credit card debt, by just making minimum payments, you're never going to get paid off. You have to make large payments, and you pay the smallest one off first. So I'm not kidding about getting Dave Ramsey's book and doing the debt snowball. It will be incredible. You'll go so fast through the snowball by paying the littlest thing off first, and then you just add that payment into the next one, and then you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And you guys, this is truly freedom to not have debt, and to not be slave to someone else, because you really are paying for things you don't even have anymore. I was paying for food that I had pooped out months and years ago, guys. There was not even here with me anymore, and I'm still paying on this. Okay, so get rid of those evil credit cards. Don't use them if you don't understand how to use them. I use them now. I pay 0 interest. I pay my credit card off every single month. I use it for the perks. I get all the miles. I get the hotel points, all that kind of stuff, and I rotate through different ones because I want different things. And so, but pay off all your debt. Okay, number 3 is Dorothy. We'll move on to Dorothy.
Sorry, couldn't unmute fast enough. Okay, so for me, it is well, I don't remember the official thing for number 3. It was seek advice from a financial planner or CPA, a tax professional. Now, obviously, none of us here are CPA or tax professionals, but we do suggest that you get that kind of advice from someone who is able to give that to you, because they can tell you about all the perks and benefits of such as write-offs that you can do with this business. It is amazing about all the different things that you could write off. Some of the things I didn't even realize until I got started submitting everything. Oh, we save your receipts. Definitely, save your receipts. I'm trying to think, track your mileage. And what was the other thing? Oh, and as a rule of thumb, whenever you get paid from Cincy, because obviously, you know, we're not paying taxes right then and there, right? When we get our payments, as a rule of thumb, takes 15% out of your paychecks to save towards taxes. So you're not surprised at the end of the year. That's just a cushion or whatever. It's nothing official. So remember, you know, always contact a tax professional, and they can tell you so many more things that you guys can write off as being our own business owners. But definitely talk to them, because they're the ones that can give you the best advice. But just be sure and do it, because so many people don't, and so many people wait. And then once tax season is around, then everyone's like, oh my goodness, like I didn't track my receipts, I didn't track my mileage, you know, now what do I do? And this and that. So don't wait to the last minute, do it sooner than later for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dorothy. Number 4 is Debbie.
Okay, I actually have 4 and 5. So number 4 is put your corporate income into a savings. So this is something that you have to build on. For many years, I kept saying I wanted to be a full-time Cincy consultant. So you have to work towards that. In doing so, that means, of course, building your team, recruiting, and all the things. So what happened, I came up with a 2-year plan. And actually, it all happened when Mama had a stroke in February 2020. In August 2020, I decided that I was going to develop a 2-year exit plan from my job so that I could have that flexibility that I needed to take care of her. Well, my 2-year plan ended up being a little shorter. It was cut off. So I started taking my paycheck in August of 2020, and I saved it. And I had it in a bank account that I could actually just click and move it to a savings account. That's all I did was click. I got paid twice a month. I clicked it and sent it straight to my savings. So I made sacrifices. I cut back on a lot of things to make that happen. And I also have number 5, which is to live solely off your Cincy pay, because my goal was to not use the pay from my full-time job and live off of my Cincy pay. So in January of this year, well, my 2-year plan should have ended like this month in August. I was supposed to have been walking away from that job this month. But what happened when Mama got sick this second time, I was sort of forced to go ahead and make a decision in January. So it happened early, but I was prepared for it because I had already developed this 2-year plan to leave that. And I started living off my Cincy pay. And sometimes things happen unexpectedly, like it happened with me. I was kind of forced out of the situation. So if you got a situation that you may be forced out of, you'd be already ready for it. I guess if you have to come up with a plan, and I developed a 2-year plan, which ended early. So number 6 is Kelly.
Don't I have number 8?
You have 6 and 8. 6
All
is
right, let
exceed.
me, number 6, exceed, if not double your corporate income. Oh, I like this one. So when I was growing up in Cincy World, you guys, I did it for 5 years and I never used my money for anything. My mentor at the time was Becca Levi, and I kept asking her, like, Becca, when can I leave? When can I quit my job? As most of you guys will experience in some point of your leadership, they're going to ask you, when can I quit my job? Because I wanted to do Cincy full time. But realistically, you guys, I would have never in a million years left my job. I was there 15 years. I was fully vested in my 401k, but they closed their doors on me. And thank God I had been working Cincy all along, but Becca's best advice was to make double what I made at my corporate job. And I made $20-something an hour. I thought that was good. And I was bringing home like $1,000 every 2 weeks, I think. And in my head, I wanted to make $4,000 in order to quit my job, because you have to prepare yourself for the highs and the lows. You have to prepare yourself for the supplies that you might need. Maybe you send out fund mail. Maybe you have an unexpected expense that you just did not prepare for. During that time, my job closed. They paid for me to go to school for whatever I wanted. And I had already had degrees. I had 3 college degrees before I went to school for mortuary, but guess what? I made more money after they closed their doors doing Cincy than I would ever make in any of my college degrees. And I'm set. I now get to do, I've done it for 7 years, 9-to-5 dropout for 7 years, and have not had to think twice about it. But if you take whatever it is that you're making and you're surviving now. Imagine making double, but having a little bit more freedom to have kids screaming and running in the background and doing trainings and enjoying your life.
Yeah, and Kelly touched on number 7 a little bit. Plan and prepare for the ebbs and flows. So guys, this business is like this. It's like a roller coaster. We have high months, we have low months, and in fact, 75% of your pay comes in the fall season. Historically, not during COVID years, but during a regular year, like we are kind of going back to, the majority of your income comes in the fall. And so you have to be prepared to kind of go through those lower months, January, June, and July, the J months, they call them, the just under barely getting paid numbers. I'm just kidding. But those are historically low months. So you just have to know that, and people join this business, you are leading a volunteer army. And so people will come and people will go. People have one foot out the door. Your team that gets you to one place is not going to be the team that gets you to the next place. So you have to constantly strive to get an MBA, massive bank account. Like there's things that you have to keep working on, and it's gonna get there too. So just know that people come, people go, this business goes up, this business goes down. But if you can learn to ride the wave, you will be successful. So continue to just roll with the punches and the changes, and continue to let people know that you have amazing smelling things, and you will continue to have a great business. So number 8 is Kelly again. Sorry, Kelly. Set your lowest check as your budget baseline.
When I think about this one, guys, I want you to think about what it is that determines success. This has been something on my mind a lot lately. What might be success to you might not be success to somebody else. Your lowest check might be $1,000, but you know what? That might be what you want. There's been many times when I ask people, what do you want in this business? And they might say $100, right? They want to pay dance class. It might be $1,000 because I don't know, maybe they want to pay their rent or their mortgage if it's that amount. Maybe it's $5,000, right? But your basic bottom line, whatever your check is, you need to know that is your bottom baseline. You don't ever want to go below the bottom baseline, because then obviously there's something that needs to be done, whether it's self-improvement, maybe it's working with your team, so many different options. But when you are preparing for your future, you are preparing to not work a normal job. There's never a normal job, because there's evenings and weekends and waitresses and teachers and bill collectors, you name it. We have all the jobs. But when you want to leave whatever that job is, you have to prepare not only what we had already talked about, but you have to go with, if you got your bottom line paycheck, whether it's $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, could you live off that? Could you live off that and still work your business efficiently and somehow try to progress? That's important, because like I said in the other one, these are kind of relatable. Would you be able to survive that way? You don't want to live bare minimum. This job is not to have you live bare minimum. This is to add to your current life. So for 5 years, I told you guys, I worked a normal job. I worked full-time, I had a part-time job, and I did Scentsy, and I built my business in that meantime. I didn't quit my job right away. And I told you, I would never have quit my job quit me. Otherwise, I would still be working there, enjoying the potlucks, talking to my friends, working my Scentsy business at my other job, because I know everybody does that too. But I would have never left, because why would you leave something when you're getting additional income and you can do both at the same time? So think about that too. Don't leave your job, let it leave you.
Yeah. Oh, and can I add something to that too? Is that if you guys aren't happy earning $100 a month, adding more zeros will not make a difference. So you've got to be happy and be ecstatic for every $10 that you earn, every $100 that you earn in this business, because then it just only gets better and better. But if you're not happy at 100, 1,000 probably won't make you happier either, because you'll think, oh, I need 10,000 or I need 5. And so be happy, be ecstatic. Okay, Amber, sorry, is number 9.
Sorry, for some reason I thought I was 10. Okay, cool. I have number 9, which is about establishing work hours. And I used to think that was the craziest, corniest, most cliche, like why the heck would I establish work hours for Cincy, like business hours, office hours. Everyone always talked about established office hours. And I was like, yeah, that's unnecessary. That's silly, whatever. Well, I'm going to take it back to when I had that mindset. And that is when I was still working full time as an elementary teacher. And so what was I doing? I was working all the time. When I wasn't teaching, I was working Cincy because I loved it so much. When I would get a message or when I would get a notification, I would just go to my phone and do the things, or I would come in here to my little office and just work away. And what happened was my husband came to me and said, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the trips, because we were earning and going on the incentive trips. I just want you back. The girls need their mom back. Wow. That sucked. That was really, of course I got mad, but then I slept on it and we came to terms, and I was like, you're right. Because I had no control over when I was working. I just wanted to do it all the time. So I wonder if any of y'all have ever felt that way, or maybe you're in that boat right now. So we sat down with a piece of paper and we made my office hours and we hung it on the office door, and it wasn't silly anymore because it saved my business and it saved our family, because I didn't realize how bad it was getting. Now, fast forward into what that's done for me as now working Cincy full time, because this is my 6th school year. I taught for 12 years, so I still am in the mindset of the calendar works from August to May, right? So it's my 6th school year to not teach and to only work Cincy full time. With us establishing those office hours, it made me get so crazy organized and prioritize all of the tasks that I needed to do and work my time super, super efficiently, that is carried over to where I am now. I have a schedule. I have a routine. It's flexible, of course, but I have certain things that I do every single day. And I have certain things I do the first week of the month, the middle of the month, the end of the month. It's all of my systems. They are there. They are in order. I don't work 40 hours a week because I don't have to. That's part of my why. It's part of the reason why I do this full time. But I do work very intentionally, and I stick by those schedules, those routines, those hours. And then when I pick the girls up from school, I'm done. We have things like tonight in which every time something like this comes up, we sit down as a family and I'm like, hey, I have this opportunity to speak to consultants and help build my business more on Tuesday nights from 7 to 7:30. What do you guys think? We make those decisions as a family, guys. That's really important. It's important to work it as a family. And then the second part of this is it's important to work it for you, because I have talked to friends that I have in my area that are full-time with other direct sales companies, and they have point blank asked me, do you ever have days where you just don't want to? Do you ever have days where you just sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day? And this is my honest answer. No, I have days where I get my work done and then I go do whatever I want to do. Maybe I don't do as much those days, but consistency is everything. No, I never have a day. I ran a full marathon, 26.2 miles back in December 2017. And I remember on my Facebook the next day, this is the only marathon I'm going to have today. And it was the Netflix logo. Yeah, right. I sat there on the couch while my muscles were killing me with Netflix playing, but I had my laptop and I had my order forms in my planner and whatever, because it's just instilled in me. And so you can't have those days where you just waste, because then you're going to look up and your business is tanked. You have to stay consistent. Okay, I got preachy. Sorry. Number 10. Whoever's number 10.
So I have number 10, and number 10 is continuously develop leaders in your group. And one of the things before I go there is, I know we've shared some big numbers. We've talked about $1,000, 500, but all of us started at 0 when we began. All of us started as essential consultants. All of us started with the compensation of 20%, of earnings off of our products. So we all started there. And as Carol mentioned, I remember getting my first $140 check. And I was ecstatic because that was $140 I didn't have before. And I just started thinking about how I could apply that towards groceries, or if I wanted to get my hair, done, which, that didn't have to come out of my other budget. And then as I started looking at the bigger picture and reading the consultant guide, I was like, wow, so if I sell $2,000 a month, then that means I can get a $600 paycheck. And so all of a sudden my vision became bigger. where I was like, this can pay my car note and I can still get my hair done and I can still apply some, you know, to savings and groceries. So there's no cap on the income, but here's the deal. Sponsoring is very important. And I know for me and many of us, I was terrified to sponsor. I had made it a point that I would not build a team, did not want a team. Until people started following me, my customers, they're like, oh my gosh, you're having such a great time. You know, we see how this is kind of changing your life, you know, and so they wanted to join. And so from there, you know, the ball started rolling and, you know, the income begins to increase. Now you don't get paid off of someone. Let me make that clear. You don't get paid off of anyone in this business. Scentsy pays you for mentoring your team members. So you earn it. And so that's why it's very important that when you bring someone on board, that you understand what sponsoring is. It doesn't mean it's a full-time job, but it does mean, at least in the beginning, showing them the ropes and where to find the tools. So that way you can continue on with your business and continue on bringing more people, more team members. So developing leaders. I remember going to a retreat when I just promoted to director a little afterwards. And I know Kelly mentioned Becca Levi, and I'll mention her spouse, Terry Levi. And he was talking about how we can really generate, you know, revenue once we become a leader, once we become a director. And then once you begin to develop directors underneath you, you'll have a first generation, second generation, third generation director. It's like, your paycheck can just, you know, explode. And so while he was saying that, I was like, I don't even think I have one director, you know, at the time. And I was like, gosh, it just seemed very difficult to fathom having another one of me. But let me tell you, at one point, I think I had about 24 directors during our hyper growth season, and we'll get back there. It is absolutely possible. It's a mindset thing, but it's also making sure that you are intentional when you bring someone on. You know, you'll want to check in with them, get them through Shooting Stars, Sensational Start, all the things. But then as, you know, they start making this progress, check in with them and ask them, what are their goals with Scentsy? Are they interested, you know, in leadership? And explain what that is. And this is where your paycheck begins to shift. So your sales become a small percentage of your paycheck. And then as you're spending time mentoring your team and developing leaders, that ends up becoming, I guess, the majority because you earned it. So I'm going to toss it back over to Carol.
Oh man. Okay. That was fast. Okay. So we're almost at the end and we've got 2 minutes left. So one of the things that I want to touch on is, yes, Teresa's absolutely correct. We all started with ourselves. Never in a million years did I think I would have a downline. And currently we're sitting at 12,914. Never in a million years did I dream we'd have 12,000 people. I have 154 directors in my organization. And so when she talks about building leaders, absolutely build leaders, and people can build them. You can build it even if you don't have a great upline. You can build this business in any way possible, any shape. We do not have a set mold. You don't have to wear a certain dress. You don't have to drive a pink car. I'm not slamming the other companies. I'm sorry, but you don't have to, you don't have to do anything a certain way. You can literally build this business at any way that you want. And so that's what I think. It's the smell that sells. And as long as you get that smell in front of the most people, you're going to win. And if you don't quit, the only way to fail is to quit. So don't quit, guys, just keep going. Our business will ebb, it will flow. There'll be times when our business is like a symphony and things need to take the forefront and then your business takes the forefront. And one year you'll be really great at sponsoring and another year you'll be really great at selling. I don't actually know anybody that has done it all simultaneously perfectly. So, we are all a hot mess on fire. And so continue to share Scentsy with everyone, invite them to be part of your team, invite them to be one of your customers, and just keep inviting people to enjoy this amazing experience. We're not going anywhere. We're just getting warmed up and we have a lot of great stuff ahead of us. So Thank you guys for tuning in with us tonight. We appreciate all of you for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Right.